Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Welcome back, folks. This is episode 158. Doing a nice, fun, true payroll crimes today. But
Yep.
before we get into that, what's up, Walt?
Hey, nothing much, man. Excited, excited to be here. You said you went out and saw Sinners,
Yes.
recently, right?
Yeah, I saw Sinners over the weekend. Thank gosh, because I haven't been I only say that because we like haven't gotten out in forever, and especially not to the movies by ourselves. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? We
yeah,
all with the kids' movies for the last million years. But yeah, no. Anyway, got out. Great flick. I definitely want to see it again. My daughter had seen it like 2 times within the first few days of it being out, and I can
Right.
like she came with some such deep like introspect and all that, and I was just
Yeah.
like, yeah, damn, all that is true, and like, holy cow! I definitely want to see it again from a different lens and whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. What about you, man? Just what's good?
No, nothing, man. Just chilling and taking one day at a time, man. It feels like this year is flying. It's already
Oh
going to
my
be
gosh.
like
Yep.
it's already half of May already. I feel
Yep.
like May just got here and it's like already halfway
Yep.
done. It's
Yep.
my birthday month. Shout out to
That's
every
right.
May baby
Shout
out
out
there.
to
Hades
all the
babies.
Geminis.
Yeah.
Joe
Yeah.
Olas. Yep.
I'm
You a
old. It's a
old
blessing to
head
get old,
now.
man. Yeah, it's a
You
blessing to
unk.
get
We
old,
unk
bro.
status now.
Yeah,
We
I'm
unk
status for
status.
real. Yeah. I'm trying to be a silver fox here in a minute, in a couple of
Oh
years.
dang! But
Yeah.
wait. So that being said, are you? Do you? I mean, I could cut this out if you want. But do you dye your beard
No,
or?
I
Oh,
have a
okay.
bunch of grays right here. All here. You just can't see
Oh,
them.
you can't see him on the
Yeah.
on here. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, got it. No doubt. Yeah, you about
I'm
to
rocking the
definitely
grays, man. I'm just letting it
rocking the
go.
grays. No
Yeah.
doubt. All right.
Yes.
Any financial fitness updates for the folks?
Yeah. I downloaded the Yuka app using that.
Oh, nice.
You've been saying it, so I
Yep.
know you sent me the link before, so I downloaded it. Started like looking at the stuff around the house that I like to eat. Stuff that I
Yep.
thought was good isn't good. Stuff
Yes.
that I started
That'll
to say,
kill you. Yes, I'm telling
it's
you.
like, oh my god, like I thought, like this is a part of my diet, something that. And
Yes.
look, this is how we kind of on the last episode like tied the two together because your diet is a part of your budget. How you eat
That's right.
is a part of your
Yep.
budget, right?
Yep.
What you spend on, right? And so, like a lot of things is like having me rethink how I spend my money and what I spend my money on, right?
Yep.
So like have to do like more fresh ingredients, more, stuff that's not so much processed because a lot of the stuff that I
Yeah.
thought was good, it's highly processed.
Highly
So
processed. Yep.
it may have a lot of sodium, it may have a lot
Yep.
of, different things in it that it calls out, right?
Yep.
And there's some things that are good or poor, and I'm like, okay, is it poor? And I like look at the details. It's like, oh, because this has high sodium.
Exactly.
Everything else
Exactly.
is good, but
Exactly.
it has high sodium,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like, okay, maybe I shouldn't use as much if I season or make
Right.
my own seasoning or whatever,
Right.
So like, you can play around with it. So I'm kind of navigating that space right now. How about
Yep.
you?
No, it's really great you brought up Yuka app because um they Yuka was part of my one of my daily podcasts is T Boy, which is the best
Hmm.
one yet. The best one yet. It's basically daily pop business, and
Yeah.
these dudes are really good. I'm not gonna get into all that, but anywho, they covered Yuka today, and like it's a French company, and they basically called them the People's FDA
Wow.
because because what Yuka did, like I've had the app for a while and I've seen a little bit of an evolution in the app because at first it was limited on the functionality, right?
Yes. Yes. Mhm.
You right you could and I did pay for the premium because when I got it, it was only like $7 a year or something. It may have
Yeah.
gone up and whatnot, and that's another little subscription thing. Like what the price creep, because if you put it on auto renew on an annual,
Yep.
you may not
Yep.
realize that these subscriptions are creeping up every year. And yeah, you got in at $5 a year, it might be up to $15 a year. You don't even
Yeah.
know. So check on
Yeah.
those things. But anywho, I think it's still well worth it because it's a healthy type of tool. But
Yeah.
anywho, um, what was I say? Oh, so the features have gotten better. I can search things without having to scan anything, right? I can just search for it
Nice.
like a item on the app, and it'll it'll give me a listing of the good ones and whatnot. But anyway, in the podcast, what they were saying is like they have they are forcing companies to change ingredients in their food, because in the app
Yes.
they have this button or a feature that is like you can send a message to the company. So
Wow.
I did it with Goya. Goya, Latinos and Puerto Ricans especially love some adobo,
Yep.
and we live literally. That's a household staple all
Yes.
my life and all my family's life. Like
Yep.
so, but when I scan the Goya adobo, it's
Oof.
not good. It has like
Yep.
bad preservatives, and it's really the preservative. It is a salt, or it is a seasoning, so it might be high in sodium because it's a seasoning,
Yeah.
but it shouldn't. It doesn't have to have those preservatives in it. So it has a
Hmm.
feature in the app where you can actually hit it, and like this the way they had it set up for Goya is like it took me to their IG page, and
Wow.
it lets you just post a message. Please stop, like take this out of your product and blah 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 blah. So what they
That's
said
cool.
in the news article was that it is changing the way that companies are functioning. Like so Chobani, for instance, was one of the companies they talked about that changed their formula for some of the things or ingredients. They took an ingredient out that, and it was just because the people were said so. You know what I mean? The FDA didn't do
Wow.
it, so they're calling them. Yeah, they're calling Yuka the people's FDA. And
That's cool. That's cool.
yeah,
Because
so yeah,
I used it
exactly.
before, right? Initially when it first came out, I was
Yep.
using it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like there were certain things that when I would scan it, it wouldn't come up. Nothing would come up for it yet.
Right.
So I was
And
just like,
then
oh, this
yes, it
man.
was early in the game. It was early still. Yeah, it was early. So you've had it too for a long time. The same thing. Now it
Mhm.
just has a lot more features. And then if you look at the premium version, consider that because you get more features with that.
Nice.
But
Okay.
yeah, it's a good one. And then so for my financial fitness challenge, I recently switched streaming providers. Like I was with DirecTV, who
Yeah.
failed on me, and discovered YouTube TV. I'm really happy with it so far.
Same.
Cheaper, more function. You have YouTube TV also?
I just signed up for a
I
free
was gonna say
trial
I'm about to beat you up for not telling
in
me
in
about
the
this
last
thing.
week. It was like last week, and I was just like, yo, they have all this stuff, and it's like this price.
Yes.
Like, I love this.
Yes, yes, yes. Because with DirecTV, I was limited. I only had live TV on two screens.
Yep.
Now I can have it on all my screens. You know what I mean? And that's so for less money, more capabilities. So
Yep.
far I'm loving it. And again, saving money. So yeah, man, that's about it. What you got news for us?
So did a quick Google search, and Google AI brought this up for me. It said that approximately 46% of the U.S. workforce is employed by small businesses, right? And this just translates to roughly about a little under 62 million Americans that work for small businesses, right? So
Mm-hmm.
small businesses, for those of you listening, are those that are fewer than 500 employees, and they make up the majority of U.S. businesses, right? There's millions of small businesses out there, and a lot of employees work for them, right?
Wow.
So yeah, that's all I had, man. What about you?
I had two quick shots. One is a company named, what is the name here before I jack it up? Tanuum. And
Tanium,
Thank you. Tanium.
Tanium.
Tanium sounds better. I'm
Yeah.
sure that's what they meant for it. But Tanium, AEM, for ServiceNow accelerates IT journey for global human capital management leader UKG. So basically, this company helps.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Helps resolve employee created IT tickets,
Oh wow.
significantly improving employee experience and operational efficiency. So basically, what this company does is empowers AI to answer some IT tickets for the company instead of, a person having to go into the ticket. It's AI powered, so I'm sure this, has to be taught and all these things. But UKG took it on and is a global leader in the AI first for HR and payroll
There
and
you go.
workforce management. Yep. So look out for that. And the other one, real quick, is Gusto taps into Melio to launch bill pay and invoicing solution. So Gusto users can pay vendors and send invoices from the same place they manage payroll, providing flexible payment options and automated bill uploading features. So
Nice.
again, I love to always talk about how these companies are kind of changing and adapting and, you know, adapting to the AI future of it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's
that was it.
happening in real time.
Yeah, that was it.
All right. Well, I think we have a good true payroll
Oh
crime
yeah,
story. Before we get into it, gotta pay
let's
the
pay the
bills.
bills. What?
Trying to get the
Oh
sound.
man, as as we test out a new platform tonight. Oh, see, that's gonna get distracting. We're gonna like, what?
No, it's not. I'll turn it off. I'll turn it off.
No doubt. No, I'm loving it.
Yeah, man.
Are you looking for a more efficient way to manage employee time? Time Track Go is the solution. Time Track Go turns ordinary tablets into state of the art time clocks in just minutes. And with its mobile app and web portal, employees can clock in from anywhere. But wait, gets better than that because Time Track Go also automates the PTO tracking and it simplifies time off requests, making life easier for both you and your team. So stop wasting time with outdated systems. Time Track
Yeah.
Go also caters to those 63 million employees at small businesses
Yep.
and will help change the game for them.
Yes. Look, so Time Track Go has a special offer for our It's About Payroll listeners. Right now, they are offering an additional 50% off your first 2 months. So hurry, run over to www.timetrackgo.com/IAP. That's www.timetrackgo.com/IAP to start your 14-day free trial today and claim this special offer. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right, man. I think we have a pretty good story here. It's a $89 million payroll scheme that
Scheme.
that rocked Florida. So
Oh,
yeah,
dang.
yeah, man. So look, so here's the case summary, right? So according to the U.S. Department of Justice, 4 Honduran nationals, Iris Villafranca, Mario Flores, Osman Zapata, and Christopher Asguera Giron. I hope
Good for
I probably
you.
butchered
Nah,
it.
you did it good.
They were all indicted for a massive off the books payroll fraud scheme in Florida that lasted 7 years from
Dang.
2015 to 2022. So,
Holy cow.
you want to break down what the scheme was?
Sure. Holy
Yeah.
cow. That's a good one. Shout out to Walt for finding these nuggets of true payroll crime. The scheme worked like this: the defendants created a controlled multiple shell and created and controlled multiple shell companies. What? These fake companies posed as subcontractors and billed real construction contractors for labor. They used the proceeds, about 89 million in total, to pay construction workers in cash, sidestepping all the employment taxes. As
Oof.
I mean, this is the theme, folks. They make money by not paying payroll taxes.
Yep.
They also operated or funneled funds through unlicensed check cashing businesses, avoiding IRS reporting requirements. Oof. And the result? Tax evasion, workers' comp fraud, and the exploitation of undocumented workers who were left with zero benefits or protections.
Wow.
Wow. Now indicted, they face serious charges, including wire fraud, money laundering, and operating an unlicensed money transmitting business. If convicted, they face decades in prison. Woo.
Wow. So
Woo.
look, man. So
We
look,
gotta tell Brittany because we were just talking about how folks are not getting the how the penalty doesn't match the crime, but definitely different here.
yeah,
So
man.
yeah,
So look,
sorry about that. Go ahead.
no, you're good. You're good. So, from a payroll perspective, like, what red flags would payroll pros like should what red flags could payroll pros have spotted in a scheme like this? And do you think it could have been caught earlier at all?
Heck yeah, but there's so many questions that I have because like it says the defendants created and controlled multiple shell companies, right?
Yeah.
So these fake companies pose subcontract blah blah blah. So I think of those four, somebody was doing the payroll, right? So they didn't
Yeah.
hire any payroll pro. If but in
Okay.
a hypothetical scenario where you were a payroll person
Yeah.
for these criminals, right? Because it brings up another thing that I'm thinking about is like you don't want to play the fall guy, right? So you got to be as a payroll, right?
Mm.
Because they could have easily if they were a little
Ooh.
smarter, they could
Ooh.
have brought in a payroll person,
Yeah. And say, oh,
and
it was him.
I don't know, it was the payroll person.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're
I
talking
mean,
about. We paid this person to do it.
maybe. Yeah. Maybe. Maybe.
Because look, if well, it could have thrown them off a little bit because you're right. Probably would have gotten back to the owners, but if they could have tried to deflect, because if they gave the person the companies to pay and the people to pay, and the payroll person is just paying it, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean, look, there's an elaborate way to do that too, but you got to be. The point
Yes.
is for a payroll professional, if you see something, you definitely have to say something, and
Yes.
it may not just be to the owner, because if you feel like the owner and your boss are doing these things,
Yes.
then you might want to ring the bell to IRS, or
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I would start with IRS because that's right.
Because the article spoke to it, right? Those undocumented workers lost benefits and protections because of how they operated the business, right?
They paid them
And
in
so,
cash.
like some people might think, oh, I'm getting paid under the table. It's all good. You know, there's no
Hmm.
taxes, less taxes here, or whatever. Everything's good, but you lose protections when it comes to that. But I guess it's all about the person's conscience at the end of the day.
Yeah, because now I'm thinking too, how were those undocumented workers moving money across borders? Because
Hmm.
usually when folks come to the U.S. undocumented to work, they're trying to send a lot of money back home so
Western
that they could,
Union,
right? I guess, yeah, right. Like, so it's
underground.
interesting to think about, like, how are they moving money out? That would be another way to kind of track and find things. But to your point, if you're a payroll pro and you spot this, how early could have been caught? It could have been caught really early, because any
Yes.
decent payroll professional is going to be like, "Whoa, what's going on here?"
Now, if you're new in the payroll field and this is your first payroll job and you don't know and you're just taking, then that might
So
be if you're a little green,
I like what you're saying there, because to that new payroll person, you should know that you should be distributing. You can pay people in cash, but it still has to come via a record of taxation, right? So your net amount can be paid out in cash to your employees. That's not
Mhm.
normal these days, but it's still legal.
Yeah.
But you still have to document what the gross was, what the payroll
Yeah.
income taxes are, and then still send that money to payroll, to IRS or security, so on and so forth. And then you can net the cash to the employee. But that's the first part. Second part is you will want to seek some confirmation of those actual payroll income tax dollars being filed, reports being filed, and that money being paid to the government and the agencies. And
Yeah.
you would want proof and confirmation that that's happening. At the very least, those two things as a payroll pro would be your requirement to ensure and confirm,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So that would be the
Good
way
call
to
out.
cover that. Yeah,
Good call
yeah.
out. Yeah. So let me ask you, Brian, in your opinion, do you feel like this is an isolated incident as far as the construction industry, or do you feel like these type of off the books operations are can be widespread in other industries too?
You know that answer just as well as I do. Yes, you know that's right. Like
Yeah.
I mean, there is no.
McCrispy strips are now at McDonald's. I hope you're ready for the most dippable chicken in McDonald's history. Dip it in all the sauces. Dip it in that hot sauce in your bag. Dip it in your McFlurry. Your dip is your business. McCrispy strips at McDonald's.
There's no industry that this could not happen in. This could
Yeah.
happen in any bit, especially like you said.
For
It's
the
so
small
interesting
businesses,
that you
right?
started off the small businesses. Is right,
Hmm.
exactly right. If and I love how Walt weaves these things together, right? Because he put the news article about small businesses, and most 63 million Americans or companies, the
62, almost 62 million American workers,
employees
yeah, work for small businesses for
work
like
for small
46%.
business, right? 46% of all employees
Yeah.
in the U.S. Wow. Yeah, that seems right because there's only about 100 and change as far as W-2 employees in the U.S. Um, if you're thinking about, oh, Brian, there's 300 million plus employee people in the U.S. Yeah, that's true, but not all of them are W-2 employees. Some of them are retired and
Yeah.
some of them are babies. So
Yeah.
we're talking right, and some of them are 1099,
So a lot of them are
right?
1099. Yeah.
So a lot, right? There are a lot of 1099s out there, especially now in the gig economy.
Gig
So we're
workers.
talking
Yes.
specifically W-2 employees,
Yes.
right? And about half of them work for small businesses. That is a gigantic number. So with that being said, yes, it could happen in any industry, anywhere, like anything. This stuff is, and we know more than most that is true because we report on these true payroll crimes, so we see it.
Yeah, man. Like, look, I think what's going to help with that, or what could help with that, in some cases, is like the different tools and technologies that could be implemented with to help the regulators detect these type
Yeah,
of frauds
yeah,
sooner.
yep.
So I think AI is going to enhance that. Now, on the other side of that, AI is going to
Ooh,
help people be more sneaky because some people there's going to be
yes,
somebody that's going to
for sure. For sure. No, you're absolutely right. But I haven't been thinking about, I like what you said about it's going to help catch it too, right? AI is the same way as helping people do it. It's going to help people help companies catch it. And there's
yes,
opportunity out there, right, for folks like us to kind of develop these AI tools to help companies catch these things, right? And there's, and our friends of the show, celery.com, they
yep,
they make AI to find anomalies in your payroll, so they could help
mhm,
kind of find these
yeah,
things.
check
There's
them out.
other reconciling tools out there that Kira put us on to that
Yep,
can compare data sets and like, wait a minute, what's going
hmm,
on here, right? Because it happens at big companies also, right? We just reported on the show with Brittany Fur about a person who stole like $300,000 through payroll,
yep, yep,
through overtime hours. You know what I mean? So if some AI could help catch those folks that are doing
yes,
things and
like
running,
that. Yeah,
wreaking havoc. But I want to ask you this next question, right? So,
what's
how
up?
do these schemes affect the reputation and compliance
Ooh.
standards for legitimate payroll providers?
Look, so if those people that did this scheme were using a payroll software,
Hmm.
and it can impact it because through word of mouth, word of mouth can spread like wildfire,
Yep.
and especially small businesses. A lot of those people, they're kind of like in the community. especially depending on what city or location you may be at.
That's
So
right.
if you mess up and screw up over one person, they're gonna,
Yep.
tell this other small business owner like, hey, don't use this company. They suck. They allowed this to happen. I got screwed
Hmm.
over. Just like that
Yep.
one the true payroll crime that we talked about, where the CEO or the officer of the company wasn't he like the thing he did ended up impacting all the businesses that his payroll company were supposed to be processing for, and thousands of employees were not paid because of it. Right?
Oh, yes.
Because of that type of stuff is like, hey, if that company was to stay in business, then it would be like, don't ever use this service. Looking at the Knicks, like, there you go.
Yes, I am. Yes, I
The Knicks. So look,
am.
that's how I feel about it, right? I feel like it can definitely be bad for the company that it happens in, but it could be a learning experience. You know how they say, like, learn from the mistakes of others,
That's
right?
right.
You can learn from watching somebody else's mistake. So that
Hmm.
legitimate payroll providers can learn from those things, right? So that's what I say about it with that.
Okay.
Let me ask you this: should this change how we view, I guess, from a business standpoint? Should this type of scheme change how we view payroll compliance? And should it be more of a pillar of ethical business?
That's a good question. Should it change how we view payroll compliance? Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that's a good one. How we view payroll compliance as a pillar of ethical business.
Because lots of times
It
businesses
should be
just see,
like a
hey,
yes.
payroll is just payroll. You
It
just
should
cut
be
check.
a we're talking ourselves into a well, not really, because it's not like it's gonna happen like that. But like, because I'm thinking like there should be a grade on your payroll
Oh,
of
nice.
some
That'd be nice.
sort. Think about it. Like, and
A
more
payroll
so,
report card.
especially yes, yes, especially like if a company is public,
Ooh,
right? First, because you already know public companies have a higher standard for whatchamacallit, record keeping, compliance,
yes.
auditing. They have to be audited and da da da. But there's still so much room there, even with strict auditing and being
Yep.
publicly traded and all that. They're not looking through every transaction. They're spot checking, right? So you do get something there. But and also like in acquisitions, like if you're going to buy another company, if you're going to buy another company, if you're going to invest in a company, I want to see that payroll report card, because
Yes.
if their payroll report card is low, that if that grade is low,
Yeah.
is that's not good, because either you're sloppy or there's fraud. Like, you know what I mean? That's
Yes.
not, if your
Payroll.
payroll report card is low, your grade is low.
Look, it should tell you. It should tell you where the areas are. They should identify pain points in the areas that you can grow in and become better in as a company to become more healthy. Right? Like, look, my mind was going, like, when you were talking about, like, a payroll report card. Automatically
Mm-hmm.
in my head went to the what's the abbreviations and stuff like that, and thinking like, hey, like, PRC or
Uh-huh.
price, right? If you're not compliant, there's a price. If your payroll compliance is out of whack, there's a price the company's gonna have to pay.
Mm-hmm.
PRC, right? So payroll report
So
card
wait,
might be
but
something.
what's the PRC payroll report card?
Yeah,
I even thought of payroll compliance something. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yes. There's definitely a price to pay
yep,
if yeah. It says a lot about a company's health if their payroll is bad.
yep.
You know what I mean? And it could not be. It brings us even to somewhere that's not just fraud.
Hmm.
It's you know what I mean? Like, okay, not only could there be fraud in there, but your practices are bad. Like that, how you do anything
Your
is how you do
processes,
everything.
your processes could be bad,
Yeah.
and so look, because lots of times what I didn't know earlier in my career, I went into a situation thinking, okay, I have to make payroll work the way that it is. Not
Mm-hmm.
coming from a growth mindset like you're always saying now, right? And
Yep.
how can I improve this process? Is there room for improvement? And this could we become more efficient instead of having that growth and improvement mindset, right? And I think if there was to ever be a payroll compliance report card, PCRC or payroll report card, whatever it is, like you would
That's a good
use
one.
that, right? To grow those things and
That's a
become better.
good one. Yep.
So yeah, man. So look, why do you think the construction business or construction sector has repeat offenders? Because this is not our first true payroll crime that we had a construction company. There was another construction company
Oh
that we
yeah.
did a story on, right? So why do you
Oh
think
yeah.
that these type of things happen?
It's the same answer all the time, man. It's the temptation. These folks sound like they knew what they were doing out the gate.
Yeah,
Like they set this up to fraud and defraud and
yeah,
to steal. I think other companies fall into a situation where they want to keep their business open, but they don't realize that the payroll fraud. They might say, "Oh, you know what? Like let's this quarter, let's not. We'll catch up
yeah,
next quarter. We'll catch up next quarter. We'll catch up next quarter." And then it becomes like, "Oh, well, IRS is not even coming at us. Yo, forget it." You know what I mean? Like it could be, what is it? What do they say? Good people do bad things and bad people do good things, but
yep.
it can go both ways. Like it can, it can be, yeah, like
Yeah, and look, this some of the when I did the research, it said that some of the reasons that these people might do it, labor shortages, right? Like in this example, that the story that we gave, like there was, undocumented workers, obviously because either they wanted to like pay less, or whatever, and
hmm
because I guess because of that stuff, and there's a high use of subcontractors in
yeah.
construction, right? So
hmm
you could do a lot of stuff off the books, 1099 instead of
Tonight, yep.
employee stuff, right? So and there may be a lack of centralized payroll oversight, right?
Yeah, for sure. For
So
sure.
it's a
And that
different
was the
thing.
other part, right? Is the temptation or the oversight or the
Mhm.
lack of oversight, basically.
Yep. Mhm.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, all roads lead back to those two.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks, or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Visit USAA.com/bundle.
Bundle savings are off total premium, not available in all states or in all situations. To qualify, auto policy must be active prior to property policy issue, subject to change. Restrictions apply. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
Reasons,
Yeah.
of why these things happen.
Yeah. And look, man, look, it's not even the we didn't haven't even touched on the human toll, right? You know
Oh gosh.
that that
Well, you
that
did. You did, right? The undocumented workers
yeah,
not, you know, I mean,
it's technically wage theft
yes,
from them, right?
for
And some of
sure.
them might not say anything because they fear deportation. You
Oh, the
know,
wage theft on them, yes. Because I'm
yeah,
thinking like,
yeah,
wait a minute, if they're undocumented already, they're not getting any benefits other than the money. But you're right, if because there are ways for you to work legally here and not be legal,
yep.
right? I don't know what that looks like in under this administration as far as tie game Trump is concerned, but
You're so distracted.
I'm horrible. We're gonna have to plan differently. Like when we get into the playoffs, man, we gotta not record during playoffs time.
Your boy's back
Oh
up
my
now, man.
gosh. There we go. Cool. So yeah, I think it's such a hard conversation because of that. Like if you're they're already undocumented, it's like, you came to not be legal anyway, but
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
So here are some things you could do, like
I see what you're saying.
signs,
Yeah.
right? Spotting the signs, right?
Oh
You
yeah.
can, can prevent fraud, right, from happening. So look, if you notice any abnormal payroll patterns or payment patterns, right?
Yep.
You're like, hey, this week we're paying you weekly. This week we're paying you on Tuesday. Next week is going to be Thursday. I can't pay you this week. I have to wait till next week. I gotta go to the bank to deposit the money or whatever, and those different type of things. Or
Yes.
bi-weekly tomorrow, semi-monthly the next day, or whatever.
Oh gosh,
Different
no.
things. Incomplete employee
Yeah,
data.
I like that. Yep.
Right. One of the other things is misclassification. Right. That's the biggest payroll
Number
error.
one at payroll
Right.
error. Yep.
If you notice that there are no benefits at all, there are no
Mm-hmm.
tax deductions at all, that's
Oh
a
no,
red
no tax deductions
flag.
is a first of all, no tax deductions. You should, as a payroll pro, you stop, like, you can't work there anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I can't, unless it's all 1099. Still, that would be the only way. But if they're your if they're saying they're W-2, and if they're saying they're employees, if they're
Mm,
using the word employee,
yeah.
then that demands tax deductions. It requires, mandates tax deductions. So if you don't see that as a payroll pro, you gotta go.
Yep.
And then you would and should be held liable if you are in knowingly acting in that manner of doing payroll and knowing that there are violations being had. Like, as the payroll pro, we are responsible for that.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
that income,
All
I
right,
like
man.
that incomplete employee data.
Yep.
What then? I felt like I wanted to say something. Oh, it made me think about e-verify and Social Security Administration, where if you're a payroll pro, and maybe systems aren't sophisticated, you don't have maybe you're so small business, and
Yep.
somebody's writing checks and cutting checks, and there's maybe spreadsheet does it all. So you could, if you're a simple business, you could probably do a lot on a spreadsheet.
Yep.
Not a lot of head count, but at the end of the day, something needs to get filed, and you could always use Social Security Administration's website for the verification system that they have, and you can run up to 250,000 Social Security's numbers to be validated. So there's no excuse as to, like, I didn't have the tools to see if these folks were legal or not. You do have the tools,
Mm,
and I'm pretty sure it's free for the Social Security Administration.
yep.
So, that's what incomplete employee data made me think of as we're talking about all this fraud stuff. It's like, no, you got the tools as a payroll person. Like, I really hope that there are no colleagues of ours, payroll folks that we know or don't know, or anybody in the payroll profession that ever gets put in this situation,
Yep.
because it could be dangerous, really. Because if this is something you uncover, honestly, I would just quit and then report them anonymously. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because these folks might be more malicious than you think,
Yep.
and you're in danger. Like, you're in danger if you're in working for these type of folk. You know what I mean?
Yep. Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
I think you get that one out of the ballpark.
Walt loving new toys.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, and I think that's it, bro. Like, that wraps it up. Um, it's a really great case that you found. That's dope.
All right. Till the next time, folks, we love you.
We love you, folks. Peace.
Salutations.